The stars looked different from space. Captain Alan Brooks had spent many nights on Earth watching them twinkle through the atmosphere. But here, in the cold blackness of space, they shone with perfect clarity. "Captain, incoming transmission," called out Communications Officer Katie Miller. Her fingers moved quickly across her console. "The Voxen ship is here." Brooks straightened in his command chair. After 6 months of travel, they had finally reached the meeting point. The alien ship appeared on the main screen, a massive structure that looked like a giant beetle with solar wings. It was 3 times the size of the stellar dawn. "On screen," Brooks ordered. The face of Ambassador Clithtar filled the display. The insectoid being had compound eyes that glittered like gemstones and mandibles that clicked nervously. "Greetings, humans," the alien said through the translator. "I am Ambassador Clithtar of the Voxen Confederation. Your species comes from Earth?" "That's correct," Brooks replied carefully. They had practiced this first contact for months. "We come in peace, seeking friendship and trade. May we board your vessel for negotiations?" Brooks glanced at his first officer, Karen Walsh. She nodded slightly. "Of course, Ambassador. Docking Bay 2 is ready to receive you." 20 minutes later, the airlock cycled open. Brooks stood at attention with his senior officers. Marine Lieutenant Ryan Mitchell shifted nervously beside him. They had all been briefed on Voxen customs, but nothing could fully prepare them for this moment. Ambassador Clithtar stepped through first, followed by 6 bodyguards. Each guard carried what looked like energy rifles and wore sleek armor that shimmered with an oily rainbow sheen. "Welcome aboard the Stellar Dawn," Brooks said, stepping forward. He offered his hand in greeting, as was human custom. Clithtar stared at the extended hand. The mandibles clicked faster. "Defensive formation," one of the guards suddenly shouted in broken English. "Threat!" "What?" "No." Brooks started to lower his hand. Energy beams lit up the corridor. Lieutenant Mitchell pushed Brooks back as plasma. Fire sizzled past them. The smell of burning metal filled the air. "Take cover!" Walsh screamed, diving behind a bulkhead. Chief Security Officer Jay Harrison was the first to return fire. His sidearm barked twice, dropping the nearest Voxen guard. Marines poured from side corridors, weapons ready. "Cease fire, cease fire," Brooks shouted, but his voice was lost in the chaos. Clithtar tried to retreat, but a stray shot caught him in the abdomen. Purple blood sprayed across the floor. His guards dragged him toward the airlock. In less than 2 minutes, 3 Voxen guards lay stunned or wounded. 2 were dead. Ambassador Clithtar was bleeding badly from his wound. Dr. Jenny Wilson pushed through the crowd of Marines. "Let me see him." The remaining guards pointed their weapons at her. "No touching." "Your ambassador is dying," Wilson said calmly. "I'm a doctor. I can help." Clithtar waved a weak appendage. "Let her." Wilson worked quickly, applying emergency sealant to the wound. Her hands remained steady despite the guns pointed at her head. Around her, the corridor fell silent except for the soft hiss of the damaged ventilation system. You helped me," Clithtar whispered once he could speak again. "Of course," Wilson replied. "That's what doctors do." The situation remained tense as the surviving guards carried their ambassador back to their ship. Before leaving, Clithtar turned to Brooks. "We misunderstood your gesture. It is not in our database." "I was offering peace," Brooks said. "A handshake is how humans greet friends." "You fight well," Clithtar observed, purple blood still dripping from his wound. "Very well. Perhaps we were too quick to judge." After the Voxen departed, Brooks called an emergency meeting. His senior staff gathered in the conference room, their faces pale with shock. "They thought a handshake was an attack," Walsh said in disbelief. "How could they think that?" Chief Engineer Kate Bennett pulled up the damage reports. 2 dead, 3 wounded on their side. Thank God none of our crew died. "They called us a threat," Mitchell said, frustration evident in his voice. "We're the peaceful ones here." Brooks rubbed his temples. They've been watching our transmissions for years. They know about our movies, our history. Maybe that's the problem. Sir? Walsh asked. Think about it. All our entertainment shows conflict. War movies, action films, even our sports are violent. We think we're showing art. But to them, Brooks paused. To them, we probably look like a species of warriors. But we're not. Bennett protested. Aren't we? Harrison asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at the security chief. We train for combat scenarios. Our ships have weapons. Even our cargo vessels carry defensive systems. That's standard for deep space travel, Walsh said defensively. For us, Harrison replied. Maybe not for them. Over the next few hours, they discovered something alarming. The Voxen had classified Earth as a Class 12 death world. When they accessed their database, the crew learned what this meant. Class 12 was the highest danger rating. Planets with deadly gravity, poison atmospheres, extreme weather, and aggressive predators. Only the most dangerous worlds earned this classification. They're saying Earth is one of the most dangerous planets in known space? Miller asked, reading the alien text through the translator. Multiple apex predators, extreme temperature variations, seasonal weather disasters, deadly microorganisms, Wilson read from her console. And that's just the beginning. Brooks stared at the data. All of these things seemed normal to humans. They grew up with them. Hurricanes, earthquakes, predators, diseases. These were just part of life on Earth. No wonder they were scared, Walsh whispered. They think we're monsters. We're not monsters, Brooks said firmly. We're survivors. Earth made us tough, but it also made us adaptable. It taught us to solve problems, to help each other, to never give up. A message arrived from the Voxen ship. The translator crackled as Clithtar's voice filled the bridge. Human vessel Stellar Dawn, the Confederation Council has been notified. You will remain in this sector for evaluation. Do not attempt to leave. Do not approach other ships. We will study your species before deciding your fate. Sir? Walsh asked, looking at her captain. We comply, Brooks said. For now. But we'll be ready. We always are. The Stellar Dawn remained in space, watched by invisible Voxen sensors. Inside, the crew understood something fundamental had changed. Earth had been discovered by the galaxy, and the galaxy was afraid. Now they had to prove that being dangerous didn't mean being evil. They had to show that humans could be strong and peaceful at the same time. In the medical bay, Dr. Wilson worked on protocols for treating alien injuries. In engineering, Bennett strengthened the shields. Throughout the ship, the crew prepared, not for war, but for survival. Because that's what Deathworlders did best. The stars still shone with perfect clarity. But now, hundreds of alien eyes watched through them, studying, judging, fearing the new species that had emerged from one of the galaxy's most terrible places. The game had changed. Humanity's first contact wasn't just about saying hello anymore. It was about proving they deserved a place among the stars despite, or perhaps because of, their violent origins. Outside the Stellar Dawn, Voxian patrol ships maintained their distance. Inside, humans prepared for whatever came next. Because one thing was certain, they wouldn't go down without fighting for their right to exist in this new galaxy. The standoff had begun, and the galaxy would soon learn what happened when Deathworlders refused to back down. End of Part 1, word count 120. The containment field hit the Stellar Dawn exactly 36 hours after the incident. The ship's lights flickered as alien energy surrounded them like a glowing web. "Shields at maximum," shouted Chief Engineer Kate Bennett. "But it won't matter. This isn't a weapon, it's a prison." Captain Alan Brooks stood at the center of the bridge, watching as 3 massive ships moved into position around them. These weren't Voxen vessels. They were bigger, sleeker, and covered in strange symbols that glowed blue. "Attention, human ship." A new voice came through the speakers. The translator made it sound cold and mechanical. "This is Admiral Tefnon of the Karathi Fleet. You are now under quarantine for violent behavior. All weapons must be deactivated, all shields must be lowered." "This is Captain Brooks. What are the charges?" "Assault on a diplomatic envoy. attempted murder of Ambassador Clithtar, unauthorized use of weapons in neutral space. Brooks felt his jaw tighten. We acted in self-defense. Your records must show the Voxen fired first. Your status as Deathworlders makes all defensive claims questionable. Lower your weapons immediately. The bridge fell silent. First Officer Karen Walsh stepped closer to her captain. Sir, if we comply, we're defenseless. If we don't, we're already trapped, Brooks finished. Bennett, power down weapon systems, but keep life support and basic shields at minimum. Captain, Lieutenant Ryan Mitchell protested. Those are my orders, Lieutenant. We need to survive long enough to explain ourselves properly. The next few days were torture. The alien containment field blocked all communication with Earth. The crew felt like fish in a bowl, always being watched. Karathi scouts buzzed around their ship, scanning, probing, recording everything. Dr. Jenny Wilson became the crew's mental health officer by default. She noticed the signs of stress building up: sleeplessness, irritability, fear. People were losing hope. We need answers, Wilson told Brooks during their daily meeting. The crew is starting to crack. They need to know what's happening, what we're facing. I know, Brooks said. But they won't talk to us except to give orders. We're treated like dangerous animals. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Scientific Officer Dr. Martin Hayes had been working nonstop for 3 days, analyzing the Karathi energy field. On the 4th day, he stumbled into a discovery. Captain, Hayes burst into the ready room. His eyes were red from exhaustion, but they burned with excitement. I found something in the data they've been broadcasting. What is it? A massive database about Earth. They've been studying us for decades, everything we've ever sent into space, radio, television, probes, they have it all. And sir, they're terrified of us. Brooks leaned forward. Show me. Hayes pulled up holographic displays. Images of Earth appeared. Beautiful blue oceans, green forests, white mountains. Look at these readings, Hayes pointed. Earth's gravity, 9.8 meters per second squared. They classify anything above 8 as dangerous. Our seas have salt, they consider that poison. Our oxygen percentage, deadly to most species. They breathe gas mixtures we'd call toxic. That can't be right, Walsh said. We're not that different, are we? Oh, but we are, Hayes continued. Look at our wildlife. Lions, bears, sharks. Earth has hundreds of apex predators. Most planets have 1, maybe 2. And our insects. They classify our mosquitoes as flying death needles. Despite the serious situation, some crew members chuckled. It's not funny, Hayes insisted. To them, Earth is a planet-sized death trap. We have earthquakes that can level cities, tornadoes that destroy everything in their path, hurricanes that flood entire coastlines, and we just live there, like it's normal. Bennett pulled up more data. Look at these medical reports. They're studying our immune systems. We fight off diseases that would wipe out entire populations on other worlds. Our bodies literally go to war with invisible enemies every single day, and we win, Wilson added quietly. Most of the time. Precisely, Hayes said. We've evolved to survive in hell. Our planet is a constant fight for survival. We've adapted to handle pressure that would crush others, radiation that would kill them, and temperature changes that would freeze or boil them. Brooks stood and walked to the view screen. The alien ships still surrounded them, keeping their distance. So that's why they fired on us. They saw predators from a death world, monsters in human skin. Captain, Communications Officer Katie Miller called out. The Admiral is requesting communication. On screen. Admiral Tefnon appeared. The Karathi looked like a tall, thin humanoid covered in crystalline scales. Their eyes were completely black. Captain Brooks, the Admiral began. We have completed our analysis of the incident. Your records show the Voxen initiated combat. However, Brooks prompted. However, your response was excessive. You displayed combat skills and tactical thinking that concern us. Your ship's defensive systems are military grade. Your crew fought with precision and brutality we rarely encounter. We protected ourselves. Indeed. But you also treated the wounded. You saved Ambassador Clithtar's life. This confuses us. Brooks seized the moment. Admiral, we're not the monsters you think we are. Yes, Earth is a difficult world. Yes, we're trained to fight. But we're also trained to heal, to help, to explore. We want peace. Your entertainment broadcasts show constant violence. Your history is filled with war. Because we've learned from it, Wilson spoke up. Those who don't learn from history repeat it. We study war to prevent it. We train for combat, hoping never to use it. The Admiral was silent for a long moment. We have decided on terms for your continued detention. You will submit to full biological and psychological evaluation. You will share your complete cultural database, and you will answer all questions honestly. And then? Then we decide if Class 12 Deathworlders deserve a place in civilized space. The evaluation process lasted 2 months. Teams of alien scientists came aboard the Stellar Dawn. They tested everything: human reflexes, strength, healing capabilities, problem-solving skills. They interviewed crew members about Earth life, history, and culture. Some tests were embarrassing. They made humans lift weights in different gravities, showing how Earth's 1G had made them naturally strong. They tested human pain tolerance, watching in amazement as crew members handled discomfort that overwhelmed Karathi medical staff. But the psychological tests were hardest. Alien psychiatrists probed memories of growing up on a death world. They wanted to understand how humans stayed sane on a planet that constantly tried to kill them. You ask how we cope? Marine Sergeant Lisa Chang said during one session. We cope by helping each other, we build communities, we create art. We love. Yes, Earth is dangerous, but it's also beautiful. The same storms that destroy also bring rain for crops. The same oceans that have sharks also have dolphins. You find beauty in danger? We find beauty everywhere, maybe because we know how precious life is when it's this hard to keep. During the 3rd week, something changed. The alien scientists started asking different questions. Instead of probing for violence, they began asking about innovation, creativity, and problem-solving. Dr. Hayes realized why when he overheard 2 Karathi scientists talking. They adapt everything for survival. Every challenge becomes a solution. Every problem becomes an innovation. Remarkable. Their medical knowledge comes from fighting plagues. Their engineering comes from surviving natural disasters. Their space technology comes from wanting to escape their death world. And their military tactics? Brilliant. Brutal, but brilliant. They fight like everything wants to kill them because, on their world, everything does. Hayes reported this to Brooks. For the first time in weeks, the captain smiled. They're starting to understand, he said. We're not monsters. We're survivors. And survivors make strong allies. On the 60th day, Admiral Tef Nan returned. This time the communication felt different, less formal, almost respectful. Captain Brooks, the Admiral began. Our evaluation is complete. Your species presents unique qualities. Your capacity for violence is matched by your capacity for compassion. Your strength is matched by your creativity. Your survival skills are unprecedented. And your decision? The Confederation Council will convene in one standard cycle. They will hear our report. Until then, you remain in quarantine. However, the Admiral paused. However, I personally recommend full diplomatic recognition. Brooks felt relief wash over him. Thank you, Admiral. Do not thank me yet, Captain. Not all species will welcome Deathworlders. Many will fear you. Some may seek to test you. Others may want to recruit you or destroy you before you become too powerful. After the transmission ended, Walsh turned to her captain. What happens now? Now, Brooks said, looking at his crew, we prepare to meet the galaxy properly, as equals, as friends, as Deathworlders who choose peace. The lights on the stellar dawn burned bright. Outside, alien ships still watched, but now they watched with curiosity instead of fear. The quarantine continued, but hope had returned. Somewhere on Earth, people looked up at the stars, unaware that their representatives were fighting for humanity's place in the cosmic community, unaware that being from a death world might not be a curse after all. It might be their greatest advantage. The waiting continued, but this time, humans faced the future with confidence. They had survived Earth. The Confederation Council chamber was massive. 50 different species had sent representatives, each sitting in specially designed pods that provided their needed atmosphere. President Nina Rodriguez stood alone on the central platform, the only human in a room full of aliens. "You speak for Earth?" The voice came from Speaker Vorten, a blob-like creature with dozens of eye stalks. "I speak for humanity," Rodriguez replied calmly. The translator turned her words into hundreds of different languages simultaneously. "Humanity, the Deathworlders," Vorten continued. "Your quarantine evaluation has given us much data. Your species shows remarkable qualities, both concerning and useful. We wish only to join the galactic community," Rodriguez said. "Perhaps, but first you must prove your worth." The speaker's eye stalks swiveled to focus on her. "There is a situation that requires unique skills." Back aboard the Stellar Dawn, Captain Alan Brooks received the transmission while the council was still debating. "Captain," Communications Officer Katie Miller's face was pale. "We have a Priority 1 distress signal. The mining colony on Tertus 7 is under quarantine, some kind of plague. Colonial quarantine is standard procedure," First Officer Karen Walsh noted. "Not like this." Miller pulled up the data. 8,000 colonists, 47 species represented, death rate climbing by the hour. The Confederation has sealed the planet. No ships in or out. "They're letting 8,000 people die?" Chief Engineer Kate Bennett asked, horrified. "They're preventing 8,000 deaths from becoming 8 billion, Dr. Martin Hayes explained. "Their protocol is strict. Isolate, contain, prevent spread." "That's murder by neglect," Marine Lieutenant Ryan Mitchell growled. Before they could debate further, the council's decision arrived. "Stellar Dawn, this is Speaker Vorten. We have reviewed your species' medical capabilities. Earth has survived numerous pandemics throughout its history. This gives you unique qualifications." Admiral Tefnon's face appeared beside the speaker. "The council offers you a choice. Help save Tertus 7 and earn immediate diplomatic recognition. Refuse and remain under observation." Brooks glanced at his senior staff. Their faces showed the same determination he felt. "We'll help," he said without hesitation. "Be warned," Vorten cautioned. "Resources will be limited. The Confederation cannot risk exposing our medical personnel to this plague. You will work largely alone. Failure means you cannot return to your ship until the quarantine period expires, if ever." "Understood. We leave immediately." Within hours, the Stellar Dawn was en route to Tertus 7. Dr. Jenny Wilson worked frantically to prepare. She studied every medical database the Confederation provided, learning about alien biology through their limited translations. "Captain, this is bad," Wilson reported. "The plague affects 47 different species in different ways. For some, it's just flu-like symptoms. For others, like the Eldrin, it's fatal in days. None of their doctors can find a common factor. What do you need?" "Time, samples, a lab, and luck." Wilson paused. "Sir, Earth had smallpox, plague, influenza. We've fought diseases that killed millions. But we always had years to develop cures. This is happening in days. Then we better get creative," Brooks said. Tertus 7 appeared on their screens, a brown and green planet surrounded by a shimmering containment field. The Stellar Dawn passed through after transmitting their authorization codes. The surface was chaos. In the main colony dome, medical tents overflowed with patients. Alien doctors moved frantically between cases, trying treatments that didn't work. Dr. Hayes beamed down with the medical team. What he saw shook him to his core. Bodies of different species lay side by side, some still breathing, some not. The smell of death and disinfectant filled the air. "Doctor!" An Eldrin medical officer rushed to them. "You're the humans? The Deathworlders? Can you help us?" Wilson nodded and got to work immediately. She set up her equipment in an abandoned storage unit, converting it into a makeshift lab. First things first, she told her team. We need to identify what's killing them and why it affects species so differently. Dr. Harrison J., the ship's epidemiologist, worked alongside her. They took samples from patients, ran tests, compared results. It's not a virus, Harrison said after 6 hours. Not a bacteria either. I don't know what it is. Wilson stood up straight suddenly. Wait. When I was studying alien biology, I noticed something. Many species never evolved to fight parasites because their home planets don't have them. So, what if this isn't a disease at all? What if it's a mutation? Or a protein that's reacting differently to different body chemistries? They tested the theory. The results were stunning. It's a protein complex, Wilson announced to a gathering of alien doctors. Your medical staffs are treating it like an infection, but it's more like an allergy. Different species react based on their evolutionary development. How do we treat it? The Eldrin doctor asked desperately. On Earth, we have antihistamines for allergic reactions. But alien biology might need something else entirely, Wilson paced. We need to neutralize the protein, not kill it. For the next 72 hours, the human medical team worked without sleep. They developed treatment protocols using Earth medical knowledge combined with alien resources. They learned to modify medicines for different species quickly. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Dr. Bennett, who had accompanied the medical team, noticed something while working on air filtration systems. The protein spreads through moisture, she announced, in saliva, sweat, tears. That's why quarantine doesn't help once it's in a sealed dome. Using this knowledge, Wilson developed airborne neutralizing agents. They modified the colony's air systems to spread the cure the same way the protein spread. The results were miraculous. Within 24 hours, the death rate dropped by 70%. Within 48 hours, new cases stopped appearing. The alien medical staff stood in amazement. You saved them, the Eldrin doctor said. We were preparing for complete colony loss. Our greatest medical minds couldn't solve this in 3 weeks. You did it in 4 days. We had experience, Wilson said simply. Earth taught us about plagues because it tried to kill us with them. We learned to fight diseases because we had to. Word spread quickly through the colony. The Deathworlders had succeeded where advanced civilizations had failed. They had solved an interspecies pandemic in less than a week, but the situation took an unexpected turn. Captain, Chief Security Officer J. Harrison reported, We have a problem. The Ravagers are here. Ravagers? Cyborg pirates. They've been attacking isolated colonies during quarantines. They must have intercepted our location data. A massive ship decloaked above the planet. The colony's minimal defenses were immediately targeted. They can't enter the planet, Walsh noted. The quarantine field will keep them out. They don't need to enter, Mitchell said grimly. They'll just destroy the colony from orbit. No witnesses. The Ravager leader's face appeared on all screens. Half organic, half machine, his cybernetic eye glowed red. Colony Tertus 7, prepare to be purged. Your resources and any salvageable technology will be claimed. Brooks made his decision instantly. Weapons online. Tactical stations. We're going to fight. Sir, Bennett warned. The Ravager ship is 5 times our size. Their weapons are designed for planetary bombardment. Then we'll have to be smarter, not bigger, Brooks replied. The stellar dawn rose from the planet's surface, positioning itself between the Ravager ship and the colony. On the bridge, tactical displays showed the massive difference in firepower. Open. A channel, Brooks ordered. The Ravager leader sneered. A single ship? You delay the inevitable. This is Captain Alan Brooks of the Stellar Dawn. Stand down or we will defend this colony. You would fight us? Deathworlders with a brave tongue but soft heart, saving weaklings. We'll see about soft, Brooks muttered. All hands, evasive. Pattern Delta. Bennett, prepare emergency burn. Mitchell, ready the boarding teams. The Ravager opened fire. The Stellar Dawn spun and twisted through space. Earth-developed combat maneuvers confusing the larger ship's targeting systems. Each blast missed by meters instead of hitting cleanly. They can't track us, Bennett reported with surprise. Their computers expect standard combat patterns, Walsh realized. We're flying like we're in atmosphere dodging missiles, Brooks grinned. That's exactly right. Hayes, run combat analysis. Find their weak points. The battle continued. The Stellar Dawn couldn't hurt the massive ship with standard weapons, but they didn't need to. They needed time. Captain, Mitchell reported. Boarding team's ready. But how do we get close enough? We ram them, Brooks said simply. Sir, controlled impact. Bennett, prepare for collision. Mitchell, your teams breach the moment we hit. Hayes, find their reactor. The plan was insane by galactic standards. Ships never intentionally collided. Too expensive. Too risky. Too wasteful. But humans had spent millennia making impossible things possible. The Stellar Dawn accelerated straight at the Ravager ship. Point defense fire filled space, but emergency maneuvers made the smaller ship a nearly impossible target. At the last second, Bennett fired reverse thrusters, turning what would have been destruction into a hard dock. Breach successful, Mitchell announced. Teams away. Inside the Ravager ship, human Marines fought using close combat tactics pirates had never encountered. Peace lasted exactly 37 days. The Eldrin homeworld was broadcasting its annual Festival of Lights, a celebration of growth and prosperity. Billions of bioluminescent creatures filled their skies, creating patterns visible from space. Captain Alan Brooks watched the show from his new quarters aboard the Confederation Embassy on Luna, Earth's moon. Beautiful, First Officer Karen Walsh commented beside him. Yeah, Brooks agreed. But something felt wrong. Years of combat training made his instincts sharp. Something's off. 3 light minutes away, the Stellar Dawn was docked at Earth's first orbital shipyard. Humans and aliens worked together, incorporating the best technology from both cultures. Chief Engineer Kate Bennett supervised the installation of new shield generators, a gift from the Confederation. The emergency alert shattered the peaceful moment. Red alert! All ships to battle stations! Command channels blazed with panic. The Eldrin system is under attack. Ravager warfleet detected. Brooks and Walsh rushed to the command center. The holographic display showed chaos. Dozens of Ravager ships dropping out of FTL travel near Eldrin Prime. They were far more organized than the lone pirate they'd faced before. This isn't a raid, Walsh said, her face pale. This is an invasion. The Confederation's response fleet was the pride of galactic diplomacy. Sleek, efficient, and designed to intimidate through display of power. They deployed in perfect formation. As their protocols demanded, it wasn't enough. They're slaughtering the defense fleet, Communication Officer Katie Miller reported in horror. The Confederation ships, they're firing warning shots. Warning shots? Bennett couldn't believe what she was hearing. It's their doctrine, Walsh explained. Non-lethal force first. Escalate only if necessary. They haven't fought a real war in centuries. Brooks was already moving to the communication console. Get me connected to Earth Command. All available ships, military and civilian. We have a code black situation. Sir, Miller hesitated. Earth has only 3 combat-capable ships. The rest are transports and science vessels. Then we use everything. Contact the Stellar Dawn, the Pacific Thunder, and the Defiance. Tell them to prepare for immediate departure. Where are the transports needed? Walsh asked. For survivors, Brooks said quietly. The journey to Eldrin space took 6 hours at maximum speed. 6 hours of watching the horror unfold. The Ravagers weren't just attacking military targets. They were systematically destroying infrastructure, cities, anything that supported life. They're using siege weapons, Chief Security Officer Jay Harrison reported. Plasma bombardment. The Confederation fleet is trying to form a defensive perimeter, but they won't engage unless attacked directly. That's suicide. Lieutenant Ryan Mitchell slammed his fist on the tactical display. The Ravagers fire first and ask questions never. As Earth's small fleet dropped out of FTL, they found a nightmare. Eldrin Prime's once beautiful bioluminescent atmosphere was turning dark. Corpse lights flickered and died as the ecosystem collapsed. 30 million Eldrin civilians on the planet, Walsh reported. The Ravagers are preparing to glass the capital city. The formation of Earth ships was pathetic compared to the Ravager fleet. 3 military vessels and 7 modified transports against over 60 warships. But humans had learned something the Confederation hadn't. Survival against impossible odds was their specialty. Confederation Command, this is Captain Brooks. Request permission to engage the enemy. Negative, Captain Brooks. Stand with fleet. Maintain defensive posture. We're waiting for their demands. While they kill millions, protocol dictates, protocol be damned. Brooks switched to direct ship-to-ship communication. All human vessels, this is Brooks, we're going in. Anyone who wants out, no judgment. But I'm not watching a genocide. Pacific Thunder standing by, Captain. Came the response. Defiance. Ready for action, sir. Transport ships Sierra 7 through Sierra 13 armed and ready, added Commander Nathan Price. We installed mining lasers and makeshift railguns. Not pretty, but they'll punch holes. The 10 Earthships broke formation and accelerated toward the Ravager fleet. The alien command channels exploded with protests and warnings. The Confederation fleet maintained their defensive formation, paralyzed by centuries of peacetime protocols. Ravagers are hailing us, Miller reported. On screen, the Ravager leader appeared. A different cybernetic monster than before, with 3 mechanical eyes and exposed skull plating. Ah, the famous Deathworlders. Come to die protecting weaklings again? Come to kill monsters, Brooks replied. Stand, down or be destroyed, the Ravager laughed. 10 ships against 60? You Deathworlders truly are insane. The cyborg's laughter turned to surprised confusion when the human ships didn't slow down. They're using evasive pattern chaos, the Ravager tactical officer reported. Our targeting computers can't lock on. Human pilots flew like they were avoiding asteroids in a dense field, like they were racing through canyons, like they were testing limits in Earth's atmosphere. The Ravager ships, designed for organized fleet combat, struggled to track targets that acted like individuals fighting for survival. The modified transports showed their worth immediately. Mining lasers designed to cut rock through planetary crust tore through Ravager armor. Makeshift railguns launched projectiles at hypersonic speeds. They're using kinetic weapons, a Ravager captain shouted. Who uses kinetic weapons in space combat? People who learned physics on a gravity well, Lieutenant Mitchell muttered from his tactical station. The battle quickly devolved into chaos. Earthships used the Ravager fleet's size against them. They flew between larger ships, forcing the enemies to either hold fire or risk hitting their own. Pacific Thunder is taking heavy damage, Walsh reported. Tell them to fall back, Brooks commanded. We need them functional, not heroic. But the Pacific Thunder already had other plans. Captain Rachel Foster opened a direct channel to all ships. This is Foster. We're initiating maneuver Alamo Protocol. God save the Eldrin. Brooks watched in horror and pride as the Pacific Thunder accelerated to ramming speed, aiming for the Ravager command ship. The enemy tried to destroy it, but the ship's modified shields, a combination of Earth magnetic fields and Confederation energy barriers, held just long enough. The impact was spectacular. Both ships disappeared in a fireball visible across the system. The effect on the battle was immediate. With their command ship destroyed, Ravager coordination fell apart. Human ships pressed the advantage, using tactics that resembled deep space, dogfighting more than fleet combat, but they were still outnumbered 6-1. Sir, Dr. Martin Hayes called from the science station. I've been monitoring Ravager communications. Their ships are partially biological, like living machines. And they're vulnerable to electromagnetic pulse. Bennett, Brooks shouted, can we generate an EMP blast? Not powerful enough to affect that many ships, Bennett responded. Unless, she suddenly grinned, the Eldrin Prime orbital collector, it gathers solar radiation. If we overload it, it'll blast every electronic system within light minutes, Walsh finished, including ours. Can we shield against it? Not fully. We'll be sitting ducks. The transports still in combat had been listening. "This is Transport Sierra 9, came a voice. "We have an idea." 10 minutes later, the insane plan was in motion. While human military ships drew the Ravagers' attention, the transport vessels flew toward the orbital collector. The Eldrin emergency response team, realizing what the humans intended, cleared their people from the platform. "Shields at maximum," Bennett reported as human engineers began overloading the massive solar array. "This is going to hurt." The electromagnetic pulse crackled through space like a visible wave. Ravager ships with their organic cybernetic systems seized and went dark instantly. Human ships designed to survive Earth's magnetic storms and solar flares maintained basic function despite system failures. Across Eldrin space, 60 Ravager warships began falling toward the planet's gravity well. The Confederation fleet, witnessing this impossible victory, finally acted. They moved to help stabilize the powerless Ravager ships, preventing them from crashing into the planet they'd tried to destroy. In the aftermath, rescue operations dominated the scene. Human transports, their makeshift weapons now converted to medical bays, shuttled survivors from damaged habitats. Earth medical teams, fresh from their Tertus 7 experience, treated injuries across dozens of species. The Eldrin High Council, broadcasting from their makeshift command center, addressed the system. "To Earth's defenders, you have saved our people. Millions live because you acted when others would not. The Eldrin speaker's voice cracked with emotion. "We were told Deathworlders were dangerous. We see now that you are dangerous only to evil." 3 days after the battle, Admiral Tefnon visited the stellar dawn. The alien admiral's crystalline scales had lost some of their luster, a sign of stress in Karathi physiology. "Captain Brooks, your actions have caused significant debate within the Confederation. You broke protocol. You acted without orders. You risked war with a massive enemy." "Yes, sir." Brooks stood at attention, prepared for whatever judgment came. "You also saved 30 million lives and turned the tide of a battle we were losing by adhering to obsolete doctrine." Tefnon paused. "The Council has ruled. Humans are to be invited to assist in reforming our military strategies." 6 months after the Eldrin defense, the Confederation's greatest diplomatic hall was filled to capacity. Captain Rachel Foster still commanded the newly constructed Defiance-class battleship, along with 20 other human Confederation hybrid vessels newly launched from Earth's expanding shipyards. The signing ceremony was being broadcast across hundreds of systems. President Nina Rodriguez and Speaker Vorten stood at the center as holographic representatives from each member species watched. "With this document, humans officially become full military advisors to the Confederation," Rodriguez announced. "Our combat doctrines, our medical protocols, and our survival techniques become shared knowledge for all." Admiral Tefnon stepped forward. "The Deathworld Combat Academy opens next month. We welcome instructors from Earth to teach our officers what yours learned through necessity." Captain Alan Brooks observed from his new position as head of the Academy's Planning Committee. His senior staff had been promoted throughout the fleet. Karen Walsh commanded the Stellar Dawn, now equipped with the latest hybrid engines that combined human fusion drives with Confederation space-folding technology. "Marines!" Commander Ryan Mitchell's barking voice echoed through the ceremony as his first joint species platoon presented arms. Humans stood beside Karathi, Voxan, and Eldrin troops, all wearing the same uniform. "Still weird seeing the Voxan working with us," Bennett commented as she supervised the new engineering corps. "They learned from Clithtar," Hayes replied. "The ambassador who nearly died from our handshake. Now he's our strongest supporter." The broadcast shifted to show glimpses of change across the galaxy. Hospitals staffed by human doctors taught alien physicians how to fight resistant diseases. Construction crews built cities designed to withstand earthquakes and storms. Agricultural scientists developed crops that could survive harsh weather. "You changed everything." Clithtar himself appeared on screen, his compound eyes glistening. "You didn't conquer us, you protected us. You taught us that being vulnerable isn't weakness, it's opportunity to grow stronger." The ceremony concluded as Foster's Defiance led a formation flight of Earth Confederation ships over the hall. The rainbow of species below watched as their new joint fleet passed overhead in perfect synchronization. Later that evening, on board the Stellar Dawn, Brooks's former crew gathered for celebration. 2 empty chairs honored the fallen, Captain Foster of the Pacific Thunder and the 67 others who died defending the Eldrin. To the fallen, Walsh raised her glass. And to survival. Sir, Dr. Wilson stepped forward with news. The Eldrin project is complete. They've successfully cultivated Earth-strain penicillin. It works on 42 different alien biologies. They're calling it the human gift. Outside the windows, Earth's blue marble spun below. Ships moved between orbit and surface, carrying teachers, students, engineers, and doctors. The quarantine fields that once trapped them now protected hybrid, shipyards building a new generation of vessels. Captain, Miller interrupted. Priority transmission from Admiral Tefnon. The Admiral's crystalline face appeared. Captain Brooks, we've received word. The Void Collective is mobilizing. They're forming alliances with the Ravagers and other hostile groups. How many ships? Unknown. But they fear what humans have done to the Confederation. They see you as a threat to their vision of the galaxy. Brooks nodded. Then we'll be ready. Already are, Mitchell grinned. Our first class of Joint Species Marines graduated yesterday. 80 warriors who learned that being from a safe world doesn't mean you can't fight like a Deathworlder. The crew prepared for what might come. But they did so with allies, with shared knowledge, and with a galaxy that no longer saw them as monsters from Earth's dangerous seas and skies. They saw them as teachers, protectors, and friends. A year later, when Void Collective ships appeared at the edge of civilized space, they encountered a very different confederation. The fleet that rose to meet them included Deathworld-trained officers, hybrid technologies, and ships built to fight like survivors. The engagement was swift. Confederation vessels moved with the fluid aggressiveness of Earth combat while maintaining alien precision. Combined arms tactics devastated the invaders' organized formations. When victory came, it was the enemy who fled. Brooks watched from the Stellar Dawn, now assigned as his mobile headquarters. Think they'll come back? Probably, Walsh admitted. But let them. The galaxy is ready now. Because of Deathworlders? Because humans taught the galaxy what it takes to survive. Not just exist, but thrive against any challenge. As the fleet returned home, ships from hundreds of systems flew beside them. Flags and emblems mixed freely, the blue and white of Earth alongside crystalline Karathi symbols, Eldrin's rainbow patterns, and countless others. The Great Library on Nexus Prime recorded it all. Librarian Yithmar added final entries to humanity's chapter. They arrived feared, they departed respected. In 16 Earth months, the Deathworlders revolutionized defense, medicine, engineering, and diplomacy. Not through force, but through the simple truth that survival, tempered with compassion, creates the strongest possible alliance. Humanity's integration continued. Earth remained unique, its biology, evolution, and conditions unmatched. But now those differences were assets, not threats. Human adaptability spread through the galaxy like ripples from a stone dropped in water. Young aliens studied at universities on Earth, learning to think like survivors. Earth children grew up with friends from distant stars, teaching them human games while learning alien music. The line between us and them blurred until it became meaningless. Captain Brooks stood on Moon Base, watching stars through transparent aluminum. Beside him, his daughter Lisa held the hand of a young Eldrin child. They watched Earth turn, blue and beautiful and dangerous and home. Dad, Teacher Clithtar says Earth will always be special because it's hard. Is that true? It's true, sweetheart. But being special isn't about being different. It's about what you do with what you have. And we helped everyone? We helped each other. The galaxy had learned its lesson. When Deathworlders met civilization, both changed forever. Fear transformed into cooperation. Difference became strength. And somewhere among the stars, the next generation grew up, never knowing a time when humans were the strange aliens from the dangerous world. They simply knew humans as the friends who taught the galaxy how to survive. Anything. The stars shone with perfect clarity, watching over a new age where monsters became heroes and survival became salvation, and the galaxy was forever changed. The end. Word count, 650.